Hello guys, and welcome back to a new video and to a new market review and trade recap. As always, I'm going to explain to you the trades that I took and the potential setups that you could have taken, right, based on the same strategy as always, the sweep to zone. So today's price action was textbook, but it didn't provide a lot of setups. The setups were there, but the entries, so price most of the time it left without me, and I managed to take only one trade for around 1.6 or 1.7 R, right? And here's the trade that I took, right? It was a short position from here, only one, and I missed a lot of setups from 10:30 all the way to 2:30 p.m. Let's start with the review, right? And before I explain the setup, first of all, I need to walk you through the price action from 9:30 all the way to 2:30 p.m., right? So around 9:30, there was a beautiful setup, right? So the model presented itself on the 1 minute time frame. Price left this zone intact or partially topped, right? Start trading higher, and here it traded all the way to here, traded all the way to the zone. It swept this low right here, so price swept this low into the zone, into the 50%, as you can see, and only a wick, right? So we have a zone, we have a low that has been swept, we have only wicks, right? We don't want to see body closures, and now we want to see price close above the candle that created the high, right? It created the low that swept. So on the 1 minute, right, it will become at this one right here, right? So price closed above it, returned back into it, and it started trading higher at 9:30, right? So beautiful setup. On the 3 minute, it was also there, so as you can see. And now it will become this candle, and price broke above it here, and the entry was here, right? So if you traded on the 1 minute, you could have an early entry from here. If you traded it on the 3 minute, you could have taken the entry from here, right? So this was 9:30 setup, but I didn't trade at 9:30. I trade after 10:30, right? So price was trading higher, and here price presented the model, but it failed. So here we go. As you can see, the same thing. We have a zone, right? We have a price put in this low, just below the 50%, or just above the 50%. Price traded into it, swept it, only a wick, and then we have the body closer right here above this candle. But as you can see, what happened is that we traded to the downside, traded right through it, and we didn't reject from it. So why did this happen? And I almost took this setup. I almost pushed the button. I knew that this is a risky trade. I was aware of the higher time frame, and I almost took an impulsive trade. So although the pattern is here, but the logic behind why this setup should work, it's not present. So why is that? If we go to the 15-minute time frame, right? If we go to the higher time frame, what do we have right here? You see this swing point, price started trading higher, or this pullback, right? Price started trading higher, and it broke that pullback right here. And the model, it presented itself right here. So price doesn't move like this. Let's say we have an expansion, we have a pullback, and then we have a break of structure, right? Expansion. Price don't usually return back into this high and then trade higher. No, it doesn't work like that. A lot of times price will do a deeper pullback. So this right here was at the top of the range. You don't want to buy from here. After price takes this high, you can expect a retracement, and the best buying opportunities will come around the 30%, 50%, 70% of this whole range, not at the top of the range, not here. You don't want to trade here. This is like support and resistance, basic support and resistance, retail support and resistance, right? So you don't want to take your trades from here. So the logic was off on that 1 minute setup, right? Because now we are pulling back. So what I was looking for is that price, maybe it will sweep this high and then continue lower, right? And the zone was this right here, was this fractal. But unfortunately, price didn't sweep this high, right? We have a failure to sweep it and it continued lower. All right, so that's a missed setup. Although I knew that we have good possibility or good chance that price will continue lower, price didn't give us that sweep. One more time, price puts in this high, starts trading lower, and one more time failed to sweep this, right? So this was really frustrating, but there was an SMT divergence right here. So you can see that price on ES, it swept this right here. So this one right here, this high, it swept it. So here you could have taken this right here. You can have taken maybe after the break of structure, but it is not part of my model. Maybe I'm going to incorporate the SMT in the future, but for now I'm going to stick to this. Here, as you can see, also we also have the sweep on ES, but on NQ we don't have the sweep. So although the sweep didn't happen on NQ, you can predict that price is going to trade lower, even though we don't have the sweep and the CSS. Anyway, and I also forgot to show you some of the examples about why this model failed, right? Why this model wasn't a success. So here's the first picture. This was from my backtesting. I was backtesting today and I found this one right here. So as you can see, we have this sweep, or we have this huge swing point out here. We have this expansion, price broke the high right here. And if we zoom in, you can see that we have our model, right? We have a sweep, and then we have the CSS happened right here. So here you go. As you can see, sweep, and we were inside this huge zone. And as you can see, price failed after that. And it traded all the way to the downside. So this is why you don't want to buy or look for setups, look for that pattern at the top of the range. Here, after price breaks this, you can expect retracements, pull back into the zone, and you can look for opportunities to buy at the 50 or the 30 or the 70% of this whole range, right? So from here, you can expect only pullbacks, short positions, look for short positions, right? Here's another example. So as you can see, we have this huge range, price broke above it right here, and you don't want to look for the model here, right? You don't want to look for the model here. You want to expect price to trade lower, deeper into the zone, right? So you don't want to buy here. Anyway, price started trading lower, right? And it tapped into an SNDR right here. This was an SNDR at the 50%, started trading higher one more time, mitigating 100% of this SNDR. And then here we have the sweep. So we have the sweep of this previous high inside a zone, right? Only a wick, and we're gonna work with this candle right here. Some of you will work with this whole range, and as you can see, it provided perfect 50% entry. But so I get a lot of questions about this, why you use the CSS this way. This was from my own backtesting, all right? A lot of times price will give me an early entry right here instead of waiting this whole range to be broken. So I work only with the candle that swept the high right here. And a lot of times price will give me an entry right after the break of this, right? In this case, it didn't give me an entry. Anyway, we start trading lower, put in this high, start trading higher, sweeping this, right? Our model inside this zone. So this right here was not the whole reversal to the upside. This was just a pullback into the previous zones. As you can see, we have models on both sides. We have here So the model is providing a pullback to the opposite model, right? This is beautiful. This is what you want to see. So this was a missed setup. I put my entry or my limit at the 30%, right? And I missed this setup, right? And as you can see, beautiful. Anyway, one more time, breaking this, right? Breaking this low, return back inside the range, inside this range. This is the SNDR, and this is the whole range, right? So let me outline the SNDR, right? Perfectly topped the 50% of it. Beautiful. We're putting this high, start trading lower, one more time, sweeping this high. Here we don't have a sweep, we have body closure. If we go to 3-minute time frame, now we have a sweep, right? So don't be bound by the 1-minute time frame. So this was a sweep. I'm gonna work now with this candle right here, just like the previous one. Price traded all the way to the downside, right? All the way to the downside. And then one more time I return back into it. And I took my entry on the 30% of this zone, right? A solid setup. And my target was the previous zone, which is this one right here. And as you can see, beautiful reaction, right? Most of my trades don't stick around at the entry. It just moves fast toward the target or the stop loss. Anyway, so this was the first top actually, right? I told you that you can expect the first top to be around the 30%, just like this one right here, the first top around the 30%, the second top at the 50%. So as you can see here, the first top at 30%, this was a quick scalp. Let's remove this one. And the second top happened at the 50% all the way to the 70%. So this was right here, another opportunity. But as you can see, once price broke below this candle, it just kept going lower. So as you can see, price doesn't stick around. When we sweep the liquidity, we broke this candle, right? Sometimes it will not give you entries, right? So beautiful nevertheless, but only one trade for me this day. But the price action today was really informative, right? You can get a lot of knowledge by just reviewing what happened today. So if you have any questions, DM me on my Twitter account or leave a comment down below and I will answer you as soon as I can. Now, happy trading and good luck.